All right, and we are live. Welcome, everyone, to Blood and Doom, an immersive fantasy RPG set in the captivating and wondrous world of Aether, a realm both shrouded in mystery and legend. We are currently running our Kickstarter, which started early this month and will run until the end of April. We've still got some very nice stretch goals that we are aiming for. We were fully funded in just under a day, and we've built a small and very excited community around the game already, being entirely new, having its own unique rule set and setting. And it is a game, a dark fantasy game, mostly revolving around an impending doom that is has come upon the world, and the characters who are basically thrown into this series of events where they will perhaps be brave enough to withstand what is about to happen. We are today playing a free adventure called Faces of Evil, and you can get this on Drive-Thru RPG. You can also get not the entire game, but you can get our free primer bundle, which is over 500 pages of free content, also from Drive-Thru RPG, to try out and play the game. And we are streaming this today because we have had a lot of requests from people who wanted to see the game live in action, perhaps learn a thing or two about the unique rule set, the dice mechanics. We'll be using Roll20, as you can see on screen. And I have with me today a group of fantastic players who I will allow to introduce themselves for a minute, and I will be your Doomsayer. And I'll go down, I don't know, because you cannot see it, I'll go down from where I'm seeing to Namuldi. Hi, and you are playing Druid Kindred. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your character.
Hi everyone, I'm Sandra. I'm using she/her pronouns, as does Namuldi. Namuldi is, as being said, a druid kindred, and one of the most particular items she has on herself is this amulet made of sandstone, and it's kind of the head of a dragon, it looks like. And she never takes it off. It's very important to her.
Okay. Perhaps we will find out why this is during the session today. Anything else you want to add?
Not for now, I think.
Okay, then we'll go down to our next character, Kassan, our barbarian nomad. Can you tell us, Kassan, a little bit about yourself and or your character as you want?
I am Wiebe, he, him, and I will be playing Kassan Faroun. a steadfast, large, strong man with a bit of a barbarian nature. He's a very passionate storyteller as well as a loyal um, ally to all who may earn his trust. He had a wife, but she mysteriously disappeared some point 3 years ago. All he has left of her is a beautiful necklace she made for him on the day they met.
Hmm? This sounds very intriguing. We'll go on to our next player character, Badul An, our guardian warden. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and or your character?
Yeah, that would be me. I'm Wim, he, him. I'm going to play Badul An of Timon, a tall, broad-shouldered man with a scimitar-shaped birthmark on his left shoulder and an actual scimitar on his side. And I'll be playing the Guardian Warden archetype. And his most cherished possession is a golden locket, a relic that used to belong to his father, a valiant warrior that perished in the defense of the Chamon's outskirts.
yeah, right, the city of Tamon. Yeah. One of my favorite cities from the setting, but the very first city ever written for Blood and Doom. Just, yeah, you still remember.
I do.
And we'll go on to our next player, and we have Zamia, our assassin viper. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and or your character?
Yes, hello, I'm Kira, they, them, and I'm playing Zamia, the assassin. She's a bit on the shorter side, wears armor that's adorned with symbols representing spirits. She also wears a rather cheap necklace, which is the first thing ever given to her by her lover.
Rather cheap necklace. That's interesting. And we want to go on to, let me see, I have two screens here. Then we'll go on to Ilya, our barbarian gladiator. We have two barbarians in our group today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. Hi, I'm Gio, he, him. Today I'll be playing Ilya. She's a barbarian gladiator with a thirst for attention and general debauchery. She has a lean physique, toned muscles, short raven black hair, and perfect skin, although her close companions and any or many of her lovers know that this isn't quite true, as she has a single scar between her shoulders running up to her neck, and she appears pretty confident most of the times, and some might even say she's a bit arrogant.
Okay. Thank you, Ilya. All right, so if everyone is ready, I think we have all covered the basics. Again, for those watching, I have never streamed a game before, so if there are like slight technical difficulties or you're noticing some inside jokes being made here, that may be because, you know, it's all very exciting to do this today. But still, we're gonna have a lot of fun and show you all what Blood and Doom is all about. Keep in mind that this is an adventure based around a mystery and investigation, and that later during the Kickstarter campaign we'll also release another adventure called The Seven Jewels of Azura, which will be more action-packed, set in a jungle where you'll be exploring using a treasure map all kinds of different sites and probably get into a lot of trouble early on, though who knows what kind of trouble these players and characters will get into today. Though keep in mind this is an investigation and a mystery. So we talked about it before that we started, that you are, and I think it was Namuldi and Zamia mainly, who have taken an interest in the very famous Temple of Aurelia. Aurelia is one of the goddesses in the Athenian pantheon, and we are today going to play in Athenia, which is one of Aether's, it is actually the largest region of Aether, and it is basically a giant desert. It has plains, desert, and cities are actually scattered very scarcely throughout this immense and vast area of land. So these small beacons of civilization, of which Ashar is one of them, is a small city located at the center of Ovadir, and I might even be able to show you the map if I have it uploaded here, and I don't think I do not. I will put you all into a scene where you can see a little bit more of the landscape as it's looking. And let me see if I can find the map of the region. Is it this one? No, this is the local area. So I'll also pull up the city map. Can be nice to have a look at already for those watching the video. So you have taken an interest in visiting this city, which is very famously known for its temple, actually, because the Temple of Aurelia is known for its its glitter. It's like a divine glitter that decorates its walls, as Aurelia is also known as the Queen of Stars. And even though Ashar is about 20 days worth of travel away from any other city, it is actually a trading outpost, a place often visited by people who are making their way from one side of Eternia to another. It's a perfect place to make a stop, do some trading, stock up on supplies before continuing on. But this is not the reason that you are attracted to this city. It is the temple itself, and it is quite the sight to behold. So as you arrive near Ashar, you have traveled the desert of Ovadir for days, and you see a host of date palms and other trees, indicating the presence of an oasis next to sandstone walls of a city that feels almost unreal. The outskirts consist of clusters of small shacks and adobe huts, and only a few people are outside, most of them tending to their cattle, which includes Hiriku and Malin. Hiriku, for those who don't know, are the giant flightless birds that are quite common actually in Eternia as mounts or even as pack animals. Some of the locals are averting their gaze and seem to be making an effort not to look you directly in the eye as you make your way to the front gates of the city. So what you're actually seeing is there's the walls of the city. You're still outside, and there's some farms here in this area, mainly those cattle farms. And from behind the walls, you can already see some towering buildings, and one of them, the tallest building, might even be the temple that you are coming here to visit. So because it's also famously known for being the tallest building in the city. So as such, as you arrive, is there anything that you want to do? There's guards at the gate. You can't just simply go into the city without having a talk or making yourself known first.
Terrific.
I see Kassan is making immediately like, let's go. Yeah. So okay. So you want to approach the city gates. You want to maybe have a look at what's going on. There's some farmers here. People are averting their gaze. Of course, it could be nothing particularly of interest why this is happening. You could just walk up to the gate. There's some guards near the gate, and there's like a registration office where people are expected to come, and it looks like they have some papers to sign, some documents to sign.
Ilya will while walking next to Namuli, ask her, like, okay, why are we exactly here?
Oh, there is this temple here, which maybe has a lot to tell us, or
It's a unique site. I mean, you mentioned that there was something about some kind of divine glitter or something.
I gather there's not something like an arena or a fighting pit, but
I'm sure you can manage to make a fighting pit wherever you go.
Yeah, I'm quite
true.
sure about that.
And she laughs.
Why does it also have to be about fighting and physical things?
She
With
just
you, it just
waves her hand towards Namuli and walks toward any of the guards if they might have any questions or whatever business they want to attend to.
Yes, good one. So you walk up to one of the guards, and they're dressed in finely crafted Jezerent armor, standing to either side of the gate. And you're actually approaching the city. Let's say if you have a look at the map, just so we can have an idea of what direction you're coming from. So this is known as the East Gate. So you can see the number 9 is shown 3 times on the map, and you are arriving from the east. And there's these 2 guards standing there. They have they're holding a spear, both of them, and they approach you and they ask you like, "So, good day to you. What is your business here?"
We've come to see the temple.
Come to see the temple. All right. So please fill out these registration forms. You can kind of get a sense that there's this. I don't know. It feels like this person is depressed or something, without there being any obvious reason for acting like this, perhaps. But they hand you over these forms, and you all have to fill out one of them, which includes information such as your name, the place where you were born, and the date of birth, and your occupation, and your purpose of stay in the city, and if you have any goods to declare. And I see Namuldi looking very strangely, but this is
Not only the moldy.
Very, she's very confused because one, writing is not something she normally does, and two, place of birth, date of birth, that's not a thing she is familiar with, kind of.
Okay.
She doesn't know, so the only thing she fills in probably is looking at one of the other papers, how you write temple.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I see.
Put that down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing she can fill in, actually.
So, purpose, temple.
Yeah, that's
okay.
the only thing that's clear.
Cool. And the rest, Badulaan. What? I mean, you are a man, very well educated, as I take it from your background.
Of course. Yeah, Badul looks at one of the guards and says, "What's up with papers? Is this normal? This is quite a few questions. Well, do you really need all this information?" I have nothing to hide, of course, and Badul starts filling in the papers.
Okay. So you do fill them in, but you do wonder about the reason for this. And actually, just as a side note, it's not like super uncommon for this to happen. Not every city in Eternia does this, but the guard explains to you, yes, we always, since that I can remember, register everyone who visits the city. It's basically intended to keep track of who comes and who goes, with purpose of like the trading and the guilds that are in the city, to see who arrives, who leaves, and where they're from. So it's basically information collection for everyone who is visiting, at least. So like people who are like locals have their information registered somewhere else, but everyone who comes in needs to sign this form at the gate.
But there's no toll involved.
No, there's no toll involved. No. It's basically to keep track of the trading.
That's
and
a
also,
good
of
thing.
course, for when people arrive to the city, they bring goods. There's many traders here, so that's the reason.
Ilya puts her paper next to Badulaan's one and looks at him like, please fill that in for me.
Of course. And while Badul starts filling in the papers, he wants to ask another question. I noticed that the locals, they are averting their... Did something happen here? It all seems a bit strange to me. Where were you born?
He is a little bit reluctant to talk about it, actually. So perhaps make me a heart roll to see if you can get him to talk. Unless you are threatening him, in which case it would be a mystique roll. But I don't get the sense that you're trying to take that approach.
Well, let's
Not
start
yet.
with talking and
Difficulty
violence later on.
too. Yeah, I'll.
Okay.
Always good to have a backup plan. You
Yeah.
know.
And
You can always escalate things.
Yeah, I'll pop up the chat so people watching can also see the result of this roll.
Would investigation count as a relevant skill?
It's
Yeah.
still more like a
I don't-
social skill in this case. So if you
Yeah,
have
okay.
anything to persuade or socialize, it could work. Otherwise, you'd say it's just a hard roll.
Yeah, politics, but that's more related to courts. So, and
Yeah.
what ability was it?
Hard.
Hard.
So what you
So
can do is
that's-
I'll also pop up the character sheet so people can see what is going on. We have our
Nice.
Badul on.
I see green.
So
Yeah.
here
That's good.
Very good.
Oh, wow.
Green.
it's green. Oh my god. 5
Oh, wow.
successes. All right. So that's pretty interesting. So he kind of leans into you and he starts to whisper and he says, "We're not allowed to talk about this actually, but something supernatural, I believe, has taken hold of the city. Several people have vanished, and there's many rumors floating around about what may have been the cause, but what concerns people most is that the divine glitter on the temple has been fading. And there's talk about jinn, ifrit, death spirits, and I don't know what to make of it, but several people have disappeared mysteriously. So it has caused many people in the city to be quite alarmed and frightened, even staying in their houses at night in the evening, not daring to venture outside. So
Okay. And I finish the second form and I hand it over.
okay. He takes the form, and you also see him eventually handing those forms over to a woman. I will show you, who is working at the registration office, and she's kind of watching you, interested in your talk, and taking your forms at the desk, and give you a kind smile.
Well, of course, I give her back a kind smile.
And Samia, you had a question or something that you wanted to say?
Well, all my questions have been answered, but I am just quickly writing down the things I overheard. And by the way, I am putting down my occupation as scholar because I don't think writing down assassin is a very
Yeah, that's a good point.
smart move.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of a scholarly occupation, right? Taking the lives of others. No, but
might
it's
say
good.
so.
That's a good point that you make. Assassin would not be such a good idea to put on the form. So, in any case, the forms are getting filled out, and you make your way into the city. You can now finally see the city proper inside, and also I'll bring up the map again. 1 second. And what strikes you as something very special and particular here is, of course, the oasis, which is like you walk through the main road that runs through the city. You see all these, like, there's almost no houses that have multiple floors, though there are a few. And mainly you can see towards the center of the city that there is this large building behind walls, which is like a palace-like building. It looks very decorative, very expensive, lots of gold and intricate symbols and designs. And you can see near the oasis is the temple of Aurelia. And people are still going about their business in a mostly usual way, though they seem all a little bit, like downtrodden, and focused on what they're doing, not so much like looking at other people or being extremely cheerful, except maybe at the Palace Bazaar, which is like, even under these circumstances that Badulan just heard about, is still bristling with enough activity to call it well, at least it's like a marketplace where they sell spices, all kinds of trade goods, etc. So where would you like to go first as you enter the city and take in all the sights, the things that are going on the
I
streets?
believe after several days of walking the desert, we would all be in need of some water. I don't think it is a bad idea to first refill our water skins.
Well, I'd rather have something different than water, my dear Gassan. Why not go to an inn or something like that?
That would work as well.
It's pretty funny because as you're talking about this, you actually see from the corner of your eye, Kassan, you see this interesting figure. I'll have to look at, and he is proudly, I might say, selling water from the oasis, and it's like giving it, handing it out to people, and he has like, he's talking, it's about the clearest, the finest water, the best taste. So he is like a water connoisseur, you might say, selling it by the cup, drawing it with a big dipper from large jars, and who God knows what he has done to this water from the oasis that to make it, seem like even better than just going up to it and taking a sip for yourself. So as you make your way through the streets, you see this happening. Well, on the other side, there is also the Nomad and the Crow, which will probably draw the attention of Ilya, which is it's like a bar / bathing house, you might say.
And Ilya just points it out to the rest, like, well, I'm heading that way. Not sure what you'll do.
Well, I could use a drink. I'll join you.
I'll move the
What
screen
did
here.
that guy, by the way, whisper at the gate?
Yeah, I think it's superstitious nonsense, but apparently we were here for. They were talking about glitter. The glitter was fading, and well, he did say one thing that's important. He said that people were disappearing. Well, that's unusual. So yeah, let's not stray, and at least make sure
Perhaps
that
they
we
know
travel in groups.
something more about that in that beautiful bathing house there. It's hopefully provides some good liquor.
Yes, so you
Finding
make
out
your
sounds like a good excuse to drink something.
Yeah, so it's near the oasis actually. It's called the Nomad and the Crow. It's an opulent bathing inn with portals in each of its outer walls. It features one floor dedicated to cold drinks and food, one to warm drinks, and another to guest rooms, and an upper floor with residential quarters where apparently, from what you're guessing, the owner and his family live. There's a mixed mosaic tiled bathing area in a separate building, and there's also a separate reception area, residential rooms for servants, and so on. So as you enter this place, you are greeted by a very friendly man, the proprietor, and his name, he introduces himself and he says, "Good day, travelers. My name is Ariatem. How might I be of service?"
A good drink and a healthy warm meal would be very nice.
All right. How about
And,
your companions?
What are the rates of your rooms? We just arrived and are probably going to be staying at least a bit. And your place looks decent enough.
Okay, so that's actually a pretty interesting question because as you are inside, you can kind of tell that this place looks actually pretty luxurious. And he asks you, so how
Ilya's
long-
already sitting down at a table.
Oh, okay. So it's like no patience, so sitting down. So he asks you, how many nights do you plan on staying? Because usually, if travelers stay for longer times, I recommend them going to the Harim Sarai because our rates are. We tend to guests for our luxurious facilities, and it might become pricey if you're staying here for a week.
Are you implying that we're not good for our money?
Well,
Oh,
What
no,
are your
my-
rates then?
My apologies, dear sir. I wouldn't dare to.
You,
It's-
you
Well,
see
I understand.
Namoldi.
It's good to be cautious, but
Yeah, you see Namoldi who has her clothes are clean, but it's just fabric. So it's not really and not good fabric. It's probably something she's woven herself. So
Mhm.
yeah, she
like,
looks at herself and looks at the others, and she feels really uncomfortable here.
While Ilya is making herself very comfortable in that very chair at the table, and she's looking at the guy like, okay, so what do you charge?
It's 5 gold per night
per room, or how many people to a room?
per room. So
How
yes,
many people in a room?
well, 2 people. Yeah, if you want.
I mean, I think now that we're here, we want to at least have one night of really good rest. So we should at least stay the night here. I mean, the other place might be nice, but obviously not as nice as this. And we've had a rough road. So
Oh yes, no.
I think we can at least afford the luxury for.
Put it on my tab, dear man.
I have
Three
to say
rooms,
that the colorful divans and soft cushions that you see lining the walls everywhere do look very appealing. So yeah, okay. So you are going along with this plan. So for a night of good rest, so that will be 10 is 25 gold. You put down the gold
Are we
coins,
all having?
Ilya, or?
Do we all get separate rooms, or I mean?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, okay. I'll leave that up to you.
how much gold do we have?
I think on
believe it's at the
average,
top of
from what I
the-
know from character creation, the average is about 50. So one character may have
it's on-
30 and
it's
the
at the
other
top.
like 80. Yeah.
Okay.
But Ilya's good for it. She takes her purse out and she drops very casually, without even glancing at the man, at the proprietor, and
That's it. I like the confidence. So he's like, all right. So he's kind of estimating that you may be someone who earns gold quite easily. You have the physique and look of a gladiator also, I assume. So I mean,
definitely.
for a minute he's quite impressed and he says, so what brings you to Ashar, if I may ask? Ilya, isn't it?
That is correct. Just a bit of sightseeing, I guess. Some of my companions, they're very interested in visiting your fine city. We're planning to visit the Temple of Aurelia, but
And he looks kind of worryingly at you. It's like, I see the glitter. right?
What can you tell us about it?
And he kind of leans forward and he says, I could tell you many things, but if you're asking for my personal opinion, I think
Go ahead.
something is up with the priests. I think they may have angered the gods. Otherwise, how is it possible for this?
Angered how?
Who knows? I don't know, but why else would Aurelia, the Queen of Stars, let the glitter of the temple fade? You tell me. And he leans back after he has conveyed his theory to you.
And Ilya is raising an eyebrow, and she looks at Namuldi, or especially Namuldi, as she was the one most interested in traveling here.
Yeah, I'm guessing you could have overheard this, so I don't know if that is like.
I don't know. She doesn't really. I think she's in the doorway because she
Mm.
doesn't
Okay.
really like
Oh yeah.
crowded spaces or enclosed spaces. Cities are a thing. Closed spaces are even more a thing. So she's standing in the doorway, I guess. So I don't think she has overheard that. But she heard Balalan talk about it earlier.
Yeah.
So I think she's leaning out and trying to see the temple from there.
And then Ilya probably has glanced at Zamia because she knows that Zamia is also interested in visiting the temple, if I wasn't mistaken. So.
Oh yeah, and I've been listening in.
Exactly. You were there already, so.
As you are
Yes.
kind of standing around the counter, you know, to hand over the gold to get your rooms, and finally, like a man who you haven't like quite noticed yet, but he was all of the time sitting in a faraway corner here. He stands up and he walks. I'll show him to you. He walks towards the counter and kind of looks at all of you. I wouldn't say disrespectfully, but kind of in a way that doesn't give off like, oh, how are you, so friendly. It's like it's very neutral. And he puts down some gold on the counter to hand it over to Ariatem, and he says, well, at least there is still some people here, right, Ariatem, who believe that I didn't have anything to do with it. Anyway, good day to you. And he walks outside. He seemed kind of perhaps not agitated, actually happy about what Ariatem told you, but like he had some prior frustration. And you can tell that those two are pretty close, or at least that this man was a regular customer.
Who was that, Ariatem?
Oh, yes, of course, you are not from around here. That is Tunaka. He is, it's safe to say, a dangerous man. Let's keep it at that.
Mm-hmm.
A dangerous man. Men can be dangerous in many ways.
He runs mostly illegal trading in the city. And there's some people who claim that he has something to do with several people who disappeared recently. As a matter of fact, the temple's glitter started to fade away around the same time that people started to disappear. But, you know, aside from stories about supernatural forces, jinn, I don't know, I think there's something about those priests. I've heard some people talk about Obila. It's a name that comes up sometimes when people are talking about some weird lectures that he gives, but again, also very enticing and interesting. Temple is run by a woman named Odona of the Stars, by the way. Very tall, charismatic woman.
Those lectures, are they given in the temple?
Yes, inside the temple. Like sermons, lectures, personal talks also. I don't know. It's a weird time. You know, the first person to have gone missing, and let me just have a look at my notes for a minute. First person to have gone missing is about 16 days ago. A man by the name of Ferdinand Legray, a counselor from Roshan. And then it just kept going. The priestess from Ishtar went missing. Another businessman who went missing. A commander who went missing. Even a local woman who went missing. No one knows what happened. There's no clues. And people are panicking.
At what rate are they disappearing? Is it one person every 2 days or multiple a day?
Oh, I mean, I didn't quite run the calculations, but I'd say that the rate of disappearances has slightly increased over the last several days. But overall, before this time, so we're talking the last 2 weeks, you never hear about people disappearing. I mean, sometimes someone gets murdered or something happens, but just vanishing. There's some strange stories about Ferdinand. He was sitting having some drinks at the Harim Sarai, and he got up in the middle of the night, left his stuff behind, all his equipment, all his personal belongings, walked out of the city, and was never seen or heard from again.
Well, perhaps it is an idea that we go to the Harim Sarai to check out his belongings. Maybe he left some sort of clue.
Can't we
The other
just first
people-
eat and
what-
drink something, people?
The other
Oh, yeah.
people, were they around the same area, or was everyone from different areas of the city?
So as you're having this conversation, Zamia, meanwhile, to keep Ilya like from being super unhappy, some servants are coming around from the counter and bringing the drinks and the food. So your question, if they were from different areas of the city.
Yeah, the same area, different areas.
So actually, one person who went missing, her name is Miriam, and she is a local. And she lives, and I'll have to double check my notes again. She lives in the north part of town, though several of the people who've gone missing were actually visitors staying at the Harim Sarai. And then there's also a beggar, a pretty well-known beggar actually, who, well, I mean, who knows where she lived, but she also hasn't been seen or heard from in quite a while.
Where did she normally collect her alms and all that?
She was usually seen at the Palace Bazaar, around that area. And just for your information, the Harim Sarai, so that's the number 1 on the map.
Yeah.
As you can see.
I believe it might also be a good plan to check out, or to see if we can find that beggar specifically. If they were well known, they may know
Yeah.
more.
Her name is is Tanala, by the way.
Tanala.
Yeah.
But first, food.
Food, and food is served. You smell the delicious scents of some I actually don't know what you ordered, but it's roasted meats, very spicy, and there's some. I mean, what would you drink, Ilya? You think some meat perhaps, or some good wine, or stronger spirits?
Well, let's start with a good wine,
Okay, a good wine.
and then
So
we'll see
some
from there.
some beautifully, like, it's like silver cups with wine are served. Food is arriving at your table, and it's kind of like this loungy situation that's going on, with like a very low sofa, lots of cushions, and like it's not like a dinner table, but it's set upon it like on a low table where you can dig in and have your meals. Oh, by the way, the time that you arrived at the city, it must have been around noon. So let's say at this point in time, it's probably like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that.
Okay.
Pretty hot outside because as many of you who are from Athenia know, that is not unusual, but it is particularly hot actually this time of year, even for Athenia.
I think that Namuldi, she when that other patron walked out, since he had to pass her, she would have taken a few steps back outside again and trying to see where that man was going, which general direction he was going.
Okay, yeah. So he was definitely making his way to the palace bazaar. So basically, almost in a straight line, taking this little alleyway in the middle of the map.
While Ilya is gesturing and calling out to Namuli to join them at the table.
Oh, she's really uncomfortable it's sitting on cushions, and so she just sits on the ground. Feels more her place.
I guess we're accustomed to Namuli in these circumstances.
It's too
like
soft.
this.
It doesn't. The beds is also a thing. She doesn't like bed. Just too soft.
The food's good.
So eventually, Ariotem personally comes and hands you over a plate of food, and he says he's kind of worried because he doesn't really understand what is happening. So he's like, have I done something to offend you, or is my establishment not up to the standards that you are used to, my lady?
Oh, they're too high for my standards, though. It's too well.
Oh, okay, of course. Well, that
It
is
hurts
one
my
thing.
back.
Oh, fine, but at least have some food, please.
Oh yeah, she has been eating just small bits.
Okay.
Not much, but.
All right, so food has been served, as well as drinks, and you are
I'd like
enjoying
to ask
this.
a question.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did we get like a wine bottle, like to get the wine from?
I think for the money that Ilya put down pretty easily, and since you're like a group of travelers just coming to the city, I'd say yes. He put down a bottle. He put down a bottle for you.
Zamia does not like to drink things that she did not see bought herself, you know.
Yes, of
Or
course.
from opened bottles already.
Very in character.
Yeah, very extremely.
He knows the
And-
occupational hazards.
Yes. But I mean, it makes sense, you know, people disappearing and all that. You know, better be careful. So okay, no,
Ilya's
so you
just loud and enjoying the food and the drinks, and just asking, so where do we head to first? Temple?
Yeah, that's why we're here, right?
I'd like
Great.
to approach the proprietor with one more question.
okay? Yes.
I saw that there was a man not too far away from here trying to sell water. Is the water from the oasis not freely available to everyone?
Well, in a way, it is, but I mean, Dulmar, he has his ways with the water, you know? It has always been like that. You should try it.
What kind of ways?
I don't know. That's his secret. But his water
You-
tastes really clear.
Club
Do you always drink his water or never, or also from the oasis?
The
or-
water we serve here definitely comes from Dulmar. Yes, yes, of course. Yes, I wouldn't have it any other way.
I do smell that water, see if there's something weird about it.
I will not drink any water served here.
Yeah, she doesn't drink wine, so
I will.
Why is the waterman already suspect?
For one
you know?
reason or the other, yeah, he's suspect. of-
He's
I don't know.
messing with
It's just
things
weird.
that people drink.
This man is selling water. Yeah,
So
actually,
you have Dolmar's water.
yes, you would like a bottle.
I would like a bottle.
All right, so he goes to the back and he gives you a bottle of Dulmar's Oasis water, guaranteed to be the best tasting one. I now realize that by emphasizing this, it sounds very suspicious, but it's anyway. Take this bottle of water and we'll see what happens. Yeah, poor Dulmar.
Pop off that cork.
d-
Pour myself a glass.
All right.
Try the wonderful water.
All right, and it's just, I mean, it's an experience, right? This is so clear, and it has an aroma. It's not quite easy, but it has this very soft sweetness to it, probably from the date palm tree, the date trees that are there, right? And yes, you see it rinsing your mouth, and it is very high quality water, and he probably purifies it in some way, you know, to take out whatever, like maybe sand or little particles that are in there. You know, who knows what he does, but it's probably the best tasting water you've ever had.
I will grab the cork off the ground, put it back on, and put it in my bag.
Nice. You have now acquired Dulmar's water. Ping, in your inventory. Like, okay, so anyway, so you were all heading off to the temple, right? To have a look.
Yeah.
So to those who are from Athenia, or you know, even if you're not, if you've been living here for even several months, you'll know that the priests are actually known as Kahen. So that's what you refer to. This like instead of priest, people usually say the Kahen. So that's the Kahen of Aurelia, who live in this temple and have their sermons. And the temple itself is also known as a Kalem, right? So you arrive at the temple, and it's a beautiful building. Really, it's almost like it's been carved out of a single slab of rock. Except that it doesn't seem like any of like the sand or rocks that you see around in this area. So God knows where it came from, you know, but it's monumental. It's very large. It's the tallest building in the entire city, aside from the palace, which you can see when you're standing in front of the temple. You can kind of see the palace behind you. So you can openly walk through the walls that surround the place. And as you can see, there is on this sort of shiny, almost marble-like walls of the temple, there is this glitter, and it is quite strange. Like it seems to reflect something, but there isn't really like a source that can be identified that causes this glitter. So it's almost like in what we would know as like maybe like a projection or something. You know, that's the kind of vibe that it gives up. But you know, since you've never seen it before, it's still easily impressive. But you can also tell it's not like super bright. So you can assume, since you know the stories you've been hearing, that it was probably even more intense before. So it has kind of faded away. But yeah, you have no reference of this, so you know it's still an impressive sight. But the glitter hasn't completely gone. And I do want to say that as you are making your way there, let me see, there is all of a sudden a man, like he seems kind of like unshaven, maybe a beggar or a street urchin, and he comes up to Badul An, and he says, "Leave this place. Leave it now, before it's too late." And he kind of looks at you with these crazy eyes. "Be warned, stranger." And then he takes a few steps back as if he's almost like shocked by what he himself just has said to you. And then he kind of turns around and slouches and slowly walks back into the street.
Yeah, I tried to stop him. What are you talking about? What should I be afraid of?
You should not have
And I
come.
quickly scan the surroundings to see if anyone is focused on us.
No, not really. I mean, people are going about their usual business. There may be like one or two people on the street that are watching this, though it doesn't appear from a distance to be like super unusual what is happening here. But he has this scare in his eyes, and he just tells you, "Death has come to this place."
Oh, okay. I will be careful.
He
I,
is a little. I mean,
him
he
a gold,
doesn't seem
please.
quite right in his mind, to be honest. But then again, he seems quite convincing. You don't know. He doesn't mention anything specific.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just hand him a gold piece.
Oh, I mean, that he basically just throws that on the ground, and he's really confused. He's just walking off. It's like it feels like he wants to be someplace, but she must understand that it's not quite easy for people here to just go out of the city and go and visit another place unless you're traveling with like a group such as yourselves, like experienced adventurers, maybe with a caravan with guards and merchants. Because if you go outside of the city, make a trip like 2 weeks to the nearest city, chances are you'll likely get eaten by something in the desert or die of thirst. So, he seems kind of lost. He obviously doesn't want to be here, but it's, you get the feeling not everyone is so capable at defending themselves possibly, and kind of, needs to stay in this city regardless. Okay. So, you arrive at the temple, and let me see. You immediately see that there are several Kahen of Aurelia praying, chanting inside. I assume that you're going inside, but even outside you can see several robed priests walking around on the because there's some green here, right? There's some gardens, there's some trees, some grass because of the oasis. And when you kind of look around, you can even make out that there must be like some kind of a library here. There's several. There's sleeping quarters where the Kahen are all staying. So those dedicated to Aurelia live and sleep also in the temple. And there's just candles burning inside. And you also see, of course, on multiple occasions, you see the beautiful symbol. And I'll show it to you. And this is what you see on many of the windows and painted on the walls. And this is to what anyone who has Aurelia listed as their, like someone they worship, well known to be one of the representations for her domain, so to speak. So what do you want to do as you walk into this temple? There isn't immediately anyone taking notice of you, particularly, but if you want to, there's many priests here that could talk to you for a bit if you want.
I think Namuldi would be a bit. She has dealt with kind of with priests of Aurelia before, but more in a less formal setting than this. So I think she's only just observing what they are doing, and also how far up or where on the building do we see the glitter, because that's something she's really interested in. How does it work? What does it do? How close to it can I get?
Yes, well, pretty close actually. It's all along the walls, so you could actually touch it.
Okay, I'm going to touch it just
You
to
touch
see
it.
what happens.
All right, make an that's interesting. Make an insight roll.
Okay.
It's your
Does my spiritualism help with that?
Yes, it definitely does. Yeah, if it's not gonna help here, it will never help anywhere.
No, that's true. That's why I ask. I think normal difficulty, right? Or
Yeah. So it's not well. Okay, no, let's make it a difficulty 3 actually. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Insight spiritualism 6.
Oh my God!
Ooh.
That's an interesting one.
A setback. All right. So
Could you re-roll it using something maybe?
no, because when you suffer a setback, that's the only time that you
Ooh.
cannot do this. So if it was just a regular failure, you could spend a doom point to re-roll, but not when you, because otherwise, of course, everyone would save their doom points for those moments when they suffer a setback. No, so you will suffer actually 1 point of madness,
Ooh. That's not good.
as you definitely feel a dark presence. But it's not necessarily in the walls or anything. It's just that it exudes it. It's like as if Aurelia, through her divine power, kind of shocks you for a moment with some like, it's almost like if I were to put it in like a picture, it's like for a half a second, like the skies darken for you around the entire city, and then it's gone again. It's like a flash. Maybe something like this is what it would feel like, and it's quite disconcerting and worrying to you.
Namuli, are you okay? You seem shocked.
You see her grab that amulet that she's wearing. And she has taken a few steps back from that wall with the glitter. There's something wrong here. I don't know what, I don't know why, but it's not. She looks she looks at Battle. Can we leave?
And perhaps
Leave. We just
Ilya, when
got
she
here.
hears Badulan asking that question to Namuldi and hearing Namuldi's answer, Ilya is immediately like, "Is it the priests?" She looks around whether there are any of these Kahen right now here in the temple.
I don't know. Don't you feel this? It's just heavy. It's just dark.
Ilya just shrugs. No.
If after some time you are approached by an extremely charismatic and towering woman, almost 6.5 feet tall, who really epitomizes her priesthood, metaphorically or literally reaching for the stars. She is lithe, slender, and graceful and thoughtful and diplomatic. And quite imposing, actually. And she just immediately appears in front of you, Ilya. And she says, "Good day, my child. What brings you to the temple? What worries you?" And then she also looks from the corner of her eyes to Namuldi, who she clearly has seen being upset. But she talks to you, Ilya.
It's the glitter. We just came into town and heard some stories. We thought, let's visit the temple and check it out ourselves.
It is worrying, isn't it?
What is going on?
To be quite honest, that is what we have been wondering ourselves for the past 2 weeks. And I couldn't exactly tell you. It has never happened before. Never, ever since that I can remember has the glitter faded. And I know what you're thinking. And I know what people are saying,
Do
but it
you?
isn't true. We have not angered the gods.
Then what has happened? Surely, if your temple is diminishing in its glitter, then what has brought that upon you?
Many a night have I stayed up these last few weeks, reading old books in the library, trying to see if there's any hint or clue as to what may have caused Aurelia to abandon us such. But you know what I think? I think she has not abandoned us. I think something, or I feel something is putting up some kind of a barrier. Almost as if we are being isolated.
And who or what might do that? Who has the right motivation?
She kind of shrugs and she says, I don't even know if such a thing would be possible, let alone who would have such power. But
Well,
people are talking about Jinn, and I guess a Jinn could have something to do with it. They are, as you probably know, immensely powerful creatures, yet I still find it strange. I see no motivation, and people disappearing? I'm at a loss.
How long have you been a priestess here?
I've been a priestess since I can remember, actually. Grew up here in Ashar, right next to the temple, and since I was a young child, I've wanted nothing else besides become a Kahen, which I did at the age of 12. And she looks to be like, what could it be? Like, she's somewhere in her late 30s, I'd say. Yeah, so it's a pretty long time. She, let me see what else she has to tell you. Yeah, she asks, Ilya, she asks you, so you have come to town for an investigation? Has the prince hired you?
no, we just got in this afternoon. Well, and she points towards Zamia as well as Namuldi. They were interested to visit the city and visit the temple,
You
but
look like a
we weren't
capable
aware
warrior.
of. Sorry,
You look like a capable warrior.
I certainly am.
You know, the city might be in need of a group like you. And she kind of looks at, well, mainly the burly types, Kasan, Badulan, and Ilya. And she says, you know, the Amrin, and Amrin is like a name for the prince, he has locked himself up in his palace over a week ago. Many of the guards have formed a permanent circle around him. He's ordered them to, you know, create a circle around them, a protective circle. And I think, you know, if this continues on for much longer, there might be chaos, because he isn't taking this situation well. He's quite frightened, and he has gotten it in his mind that something is out to get him, or that some kind of supernatural force is, you know, has targeted him. But there seems to be no reason to think this.
Are you trying to ask us to investigate this matter?
And then she smiles at you. I mean, am I that transparent?
Quite.
Okay. Well, yes, I mean, we could use someone to do a proper investigation, because this can't go on for much longer. And what happens if the sparkle completely disappears? And that's what keeps me up at night.
You deny angering the gods, but do you have complete control over your priests?
She kind of looks at you like annoyed because you're very, you know, asking very critical questions. She's like,
Well, if you're asking me to investigate, I'm going to start right at the source.
so your investigation has started. And anyway, well, I mean, they are allowed to each preach in their own method, in their own way. And, you know, of course, we have talks on many occasions about how things are going, how people, maybe there's a complaint coming in or something like this, but mostly they function under my supervision, but have free reign to, you know, teach as they want.
Mostly?
Yes, mostly.
Well, I'm interested in exceptions.
Well, I have pulled the reins in a little bit on Obila, who some say has quite an unusual way of talking that seems to kind of interest some people, but seems to kind of worry others, or at least they don't see why this would have anything to do with Aurelia.
Can we talk to her?
Obila is a man.
Can we talk to him?
I mean, I guess so. And she says,
You seem hesitant.
well, he... Never mind, she says. Oh,
Never mind.
She's asking questions.
Oh man, okay, this needs... I think this needs a mystique roll. Yeah, difficulty 2.
Could this be intimidation of a sort? Or?
Yes, I was definitely getting that vibe. That's why it's a mystique roll. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're... Oh god. Okay, nice. She says, you know, he sometimes gives me strange vibes. So that's why I usually just avoid him. But the man standing over there, and she points to the back of the temple. That's Obila. And she just says to you, I have some other things to take care of, so if you don't mind.
Excuse me. No, I mind. He gives you strange vibes, but you are supposed to be in charge of everyone here. You're supposed to make sure everything is safe. I don't quite know what your duties entail, but you are responsible for his behavior. But you are worried about how he acts, the things he says, the way he says them, but have not acted on those feelings.
I have had a few conversations with him. He says that it's nothing to worry about, and he said that whatever people may be saying, that he would steer clear of that. But I cannot just. I mean, what am I to do? Right?
What is anyone else to do but you?
Investigate. Sorry. No, just kidding.
Well, I mean, it's
No, but-
easy to get other
Yeah.
people to do the dirty work, and I
You are
suppose
right.
we will have to.
To be honest, I'm saying too much. He is also. I must understand. He is no stranger to me. I have known him for several years. I would call him a friend, but you know how it is. It's not always as clear cut, and it's difficult for me to make any accusations that weigh so heavily as that you insinuate. And for this reason, I'm just leaving it as is. And I mean, it's not like people are coming by every day complaining about his sermons. It's just that it has been mentioned on multiple occasions.
You
But
want
then
us?
again, sorry,
You want us investigating?
you can have a
Then let's
talk.
have a talk with him.
Yeah, you can have a talk with him if you want.
Ilya looks at Zamia, and she also looks at Namuldi, like, "Are you alright?"
Oh, during this whole conversation, I think that Kassan and Badolan have felt this chill running down their spines, like this cold thing of air has hit you in a way. And Namuli has walked up to, I think at first, Kassan, and whispers to him, "It doesn't feel right here. We should go."
I agree. This is not a very comfortable space to be. But we should probably do something about it since we are here.
And like a small child where the one parent didn't give in, she walks towards Manuel. And she goes again. Did you feel that? It doesn't feel right here. It just, there's something here. We should go.
I don't know. Did you feel it when you touched the temple? Is it safe to touch the temple? And Baduan slowly walks towards one of the temple.
Oh, yeah. Navaldi's going to stop him.
Okay. So it really did spook you. Okay, let's make this quick, and then we'll leave. I'll see if I can hasten this situation. And Baduan wants to enter the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And was Obila, right?
Yeah, Obila. Yeah,
Obila.
I'll show him to you.
Okay.
You can see him inside the temple. He's talking to some people, very kindly, I might add. So middle-aged man. He seems like someone who dresses very plainly and simple, like without like any jewelry, anything like that. And you see him wearing his clean white twab and turban, and he's talking to some people, occasionally looking around the temple, being interested, doing his job as a priest.
Hello, my name is Badul An of Timon. You you might know me. What's your job here? What do you do?
What might I know you from, friend?
Have you ever been to Timon?
I have. The Golden City. Am I right?
That's the one. But you might know my mother, Hamila. She's an oracle.
Maybe. It's been a while since I visited Tamon. Anyway, what brings you to a place like Ashar?
Yeah, we're just on a trip, and I don't know how, but we ended up here. It's a beautiful city, and it's also a beautiful temple. But yeah, I've heard some stories about the temple. I expected more from the glitter.
You have?
Did it faint?
A little. It seems to worry some people in the city. Some are even blaming us for this diminishing of the divine sparkle of the temple.
Do they have any reason to do that? I mean,
I think something else might be going on. I am not sure what it is, but I think... Have you heard of Tunaka? He runs some illicit business here in town. And people are crying about supernatural events, but I do not believe in such things. I think these people who disappeared were probably murdered by this man. Though, of course, I have no proof of this.
and are there any others that believe this story?
Oh yes, there are.
And where might we find those people?
Oh well,
Murder, I mean, that would be horrible.
I have heard it whispered to me that some people in the City Watch are running an investigation into Tunaka, but they are not doing so openly because he is a very powerful man, you must know. So no accusations have been made as of yet, but I do know that they are looking into the matter.
Could it be that Tunaka has a little birdie within the city guard?
Could be that he is aware of what is going on. In fact, I suspect he knows very well. But, you know, I mean, the Amarin doesn't seem to think so. He has locked himself up in his palace, blaming some ghosts for the disappearances in the city. Some even say he hired an exorcist to come. And then this exorcist also disappeared. Anyway.
I think, by the way, that Ilya, when she sees that Badulan is already heading in the direction, or is talking to Obila, that she'll nod towards Adona and then head into that direction as well to join
I will
them.
join.
Okay, so you are all joining.
Yeah.
And
except Namuldi.
except
No.
Namuldi, there's no way she is setting foot in this.
Is Anna staying with her, or
Sure, I'll stay with her. That's fine.
just asking?
That's the nature crowd, right? The Anyway, so
Yeah.
you all approach. So Badulan, Samia, Ilya, you're standing near Obila Dir, and he's interested in all of you, but he's a priest after all, and he starts to kind of talk also about Aurelia, and he says to you, have you ever stared at the night sky? Really look at the stars very intensely for hours on end. Well, if you did, how did that make you feel? He asked.
Ilya is looking a little bit dumbfounded, like, What is he talking about?
Yeah, it sounds kind of,
It made
Way
me
too
feel
spiritual
small.
for.
yeah. Perhaps the answers lie out there. I know what you are all thinking. You're thinking something is happening to the temple and that maybe I have something to do with it. But I can tell you this isn't the case. In fact, on the contrary, I think I may have a way to solve our problem.
Tell us. I'm all ears.
Well, he says it's just some theory I've been working on. I can't reveal it yet, but
Why not?
he's kind of trying to see through you, like what kind of stuff you're made of. So I want to ask you maybe to see if he can get like some kind of bearing on who you are, what your intentions are. Maybe make me a mystique roll, Ilya.
Yeah, that's Ilya's forte, yeah.
Difficulty is just a difficulty 2.
Okay. Yeah, there's nothing else that would help Ilya.
It's kind of
this one, I
trying
suppose.
to reveal your intentions or hide your intentions, I should say. A failure. All right. So he kind of sees through why you are here in the city, and kind of gleans that you are doing this investigation from the way you're behaving and talking. And he says, no, never mind.
But I insist, and she looks, well, more menacingly towards him, or at him.
Oh God, okay, menacingly.
Some intimidate.
Yeah, okay, I'm just thinking how... Okay, so... Yes, we're intimidating, so make a mystique roll, though...
In
it's
the temple. Yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
I've already intimidated someone in the temple. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Though he... it is a difficulty 4, unfortunately. He is not
Okay.
easily intimidated.
All right.
Will
Let's,
you spend a doom point to get 5 dice?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can do that, yeah, by the way, if you want. You can always spend a doom point to roll 5 action dice if you're rolling less than 5. So let's say you're just really bad at something. Instead of re-rolling, you can take 5 dice.
No, but I think this is what ability should I use? Heart or
I think
Mystique?
because you're intimidating him, that's a mystique.
Mhm.
Yeah, unless you're doing it physically, you can use strength. But then you'll have to start knocking.
No,
start-
no, I
you have
first
to
want to
start knock-
look menacingly and not immediately. No.
Well, I mean, I think you can also probably do like a strength type intimidation if you like narrate
Well,
like a
pop
scenario
yourself.
where you like
Yeah.
put your big muscly arms over them.
That's
so
true,
So
that's true.
you really don't want to help me, do you?
Yeah, more. Well, coming a little bit closer into his personal bubble and almost nose to nose, like.
Okay, this is interesting. But it's still a difficulty 4, but at least you can roll strength.
Okay, then we'll see what will be the outcome.
Ooh.
And I.
You want to use a doom point?
Yeah, I
Reroll?
want to re-roll. I
Okay,
want
then
to
you can
re-roll.
click reroll and it will automatically subtract the doom point and it will automatically
Okay.
reroll for you.
Well, fingers crossed. Here we go. And
Oh my God! How is this possible? Wait. Let me
How many
see.
times can you? How many
What?
times can you reroll?
Oh my God! You rolled 1, 1, 6, 5, and 7 eventually. My God.
Like, can you re-roll multiple times? Or
No, you can only do it once
Aw.
per action roll. I am so sorry. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I mean, if
This always works with Ilya, so
yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's just
proof
like,
magic.
and he just looks at you, and he's actually quite calm, strangely enough, and he says to you, "So you are really here in Ashar to find out what happened, right? You are
indeed we are.
you were hired by the Amrin?
No. But
All
we had a
right.
talk with your supervisor or the Kahan in charge of this temple, Odona.
I see. Well, I have some important business to take care of, so I bid you a good day." And he really keeps his eye on you, as if he's to say,
Yeah,
I
and Ilya's probably a little bit restraining herself to really get physical with this dude, but she reins her temper in, and
Yes, and he walks away from the group.
I would like to follow him.
Oh my God! Okay, that's okay now. Yes, of course. Yeah, proper investigation.
that's Damia's.
Like maybe a bit like stay
Into
outside,
the-
like not make it obvious that I'm, follow me. I don't want him to get worried yet.
Okay, so following him is pretty interesting. So you can actually follow him pretty easily here, and he seems to be leaving the temple actually, but not through the front entrance, around the back. And now the question is, do you want to follow him some more?
Yes.
Which will require... Okay, and are you alone, or what's the situation? I need to know. Is the
I don't think Ilya will follow her because she's just too upset, and she's like looking at Badolan, and I don't trust that guy at all. And she walks back towards the others, Namuldi and Kassan.
Yeah. All right. So for the moment being, I assume Zamia is on one of her like assassin covert ops, going around the back, and I would like to ask you. I mean, it depends of course, what kind of distance you want to keep. I want to see the map back, because he is going someplace in particular actually. So he's making his way. How does it work again to ping on the map to show you something? What is it?
Click and hold.
Click. Oh yeah, this. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, so he goes out the back, eventually makes his way here, and then here, and here, and he seems to be on his way to the Palace Bazaar. Yet to follow him in this way and to read, because it's very crowded, the Palace Bazaar, and he's on his way, it seems, to a particular spot there. So make me a stealth roll if you want, to see if you can. It's I mean, it's not going to be super difficult, to be honest, because it's very crowded, but still difficulty 2. He's not crazy, so he'll be looking around to see if maybe one of you would be following him.
I'm sort of trying to blend into the crowd to not make it obvious. So could I use my deception and trickery skill as a bonus to this?
I say sure. Don't you have cloaks and shadows?
I also have that, but they're at the same level. But it's like cloaks and shadows is more everything is dark. But
Yeah,
I'm trying to blend in, so it's more social stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Nice.
Action roll, 3 successes. So you actually managed to stay out of sight, and at a certain point he goes to a booth, and it seems like it's like a fortune teller's booth, something to that effect. And you see him talking for a few moments with a woman. I'll show her. And she is a beautiful, dark-skinned, seems very dazzling. She has a purple dress, pink robes, and she has like a ton of necklaces on her, as you can see also on her forehead. And he may have even been there like for 5 seconds, and Nobila passes on, but he did have some words with her. The woman at the fortune-telling booth at the Palace Bazaar.
Could I hear what was said? Or
Oh yes, okay, but that's gonna require you to move really close. So
well,
we'll go.
if he's
Yeah.
gone into a booth, then I can probably get a bit closer.
Yeah, no, it's not close. It's open. But it's like
Oh.
a stall. But sure. But
I can walk past. I can walk past and take an extra.
pretend as okay. But it's gonna be. I mean, this is gonna. If you want to do this, it's a difficulty
Yeah.
4. And if you
Ooh.
don't make it, Obila will see you. So just realize. Yeah. Okay.
It's the same roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Nice.
Wow.
Master in the arts.
Oh my God. Okay, here's what. You earned this. So you hear him say, "We may have a problem. Let's meet tonight." And that's it.
Okay. Yeah, and like I hear it as I walk past. I've probably like to do this. I've grabbed a piece of clothing just to wear a scarf around me, just to like a quick change of sorts, and I'll walk past and go down the side streets and then double back towards the temple where I'll probably meet up with the rest.
This whole thing probably takes you about 20 minutes, but they'll still, they know likely that you'll have followed him. So the rest is still waiting. I assume outside of the temple by this point, because Namuli and Kassan are really not cool with this whole building and
Yeah, and
scaring the
Ilya is
living
also
crap out
done
of
with,
you. Yeah.
with the temple, so...
Yeah. So eventually, Zamia, you arrive at the party again, who's kind of standing outside the temple, looking around, sort of waiting for you. So what is it that you are going to tell them, if anything at all?
So, the little birdie I followed seems to have an ally, and he seems to be worried. They're meeting tonight to discuss a supposed problem.
And where do they meet?
I assume it is a location they previously agreed on.
I knew it, this lying bastard.
Yeah.
I
Well,
knew it from the beginning.
Mhm.
their location shouldn't be too hard to figure out. If you could follow
No.
him this time, you could follow her when she leaves.
That is indeed a plan. Could perhaps at evening, the roofs aren't too high, they tend to be, so could probably lie in wait there to have a look out.
It's not. I
Like,
think probably it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon by now. Just giving you sort of
Mhm.
like an idea of the time.
I guess Badolan told us about what he said, or what what's his name, Obila, told him before we were there. So
Yeah.
with the not sure how Namuldi responds to that, because Obila was really insisting that there was nothing supernatural going on, and it was Tanaka who was involved in this.
Oh yeah, but after her experience with the wall, she surely knows that something terrible is going to happen, and something is going on here. So he can deny it all he wants, but
Well, I think Ilya is also, well, hoping to hear this, or at least she wants to disbelieve anything Obila says. So
can we leave here?
That's perhaps it is. Perhaps we could even go to the Palace Bazaar right now. Maybe she's a fortune teller, right? Let's have our fortunes told. She doesn't know what we look like.
I will stay out of it because I do not think all of us should go, maybe two. Because it's if we want to try to follow her, it would behoove us not to have our faces known. To scout out the situation would be wise. And that is why we have multiple members of our team.
Well, we both stayed outside, so he never probably doesn't even know we exist, right? Two of us.
Yes.
We
Ilya
could go.
nods.
Yeah.
Fortune. Okay. Fine. If that makes us leave it faster, I'm all for it. And she just turns around and walks out of the garden of the temple, because even if she's outside here, it's still on temple property, which doesn't feel right for her. And as soon as she passes the gate, whoever is following her will see that there is this weight coming off her shoulder.
Yeah, that was quite the experience, right? So
Yeah.
So you're making your way to the fortune telling booth?
I think the two of us are, yeah.
Okay. So you go back to the Palace Bazaar, kind of situated under the shadows of the palace, which is almost as tall as the temple. There's several small plazas there, each of them specialized in specific wares or services, connected to each other through narrow alleyways, and eventually you walk around there for a little bit. You don't know maybe exactly where this fortune-telling booth is located, but given some clues, it takes you about 10 minutes or so going through the crowd and the busy streets here to find a small fortune-telling booth. It's almost like a large table. There's some candles on there, some little trinkets, a gold, a silver. There's things like cards, like tarot cards or something to that effect, and a glass. What do you call it? A glass ball.
Crystal ball.
A crystal ball. A crystal ball. Yeah. So there's a crystal ball. Those typical things, and this woman. She seems very kind and nice to everyone who passes by, having little chats, having little talks with everyone. That's kind of the scene as you approach here. Though no one is currently sitting down for like having a reading or anything like that.
Hello, woman.
Good day to you, stranger.
I hear you are a fortune teller.
The name is Nimawe, by the way. And what is your name?
Farun.
Welcome, Farun. Ready to get your future told? And she kind of makes this gesture for you to sit down.
Certainly.
All right. She says, first she starts asking some questions. I sense you are not from around here, are you?
No, I have arrived here with a party of fellow travelers.
Fellow travelers. Arrived here today, perhaps, have you?
Yes.
I see, I see. With some strong purpose, I sense.
We are drawn to this, to Ashar, to visit the Temple of Aurelia. One of our companions was very curious.
Of course,
to
of
the
course.
shores.
And what a disappointment it must have been, realizing that the glitter is not all that it once was now, wasn't it?
Still magnificent for someone who has nothing else to compare it to.
I see in your future 2 paths. One leading away from Ashar to a long and happy life. The other sees you stay inside the city, and great misfortune befalls you. Perhaps even... And she looks kind of shocked. Perhaps even costing you and your companions your life? No,
Okay.
she says. She's like almost as if she is scared of her own fortune. She's like, no. Like, and she says, who are you? You have anything to do with what is happening in the city?
I'm convinced now we have to leave. So
No, as she's telling his fortune,
Mm-hmm.
Namboli has probably seen a lot of her kind who are more like stargazers perform forms of rituals or fortune telling or anything related to that. Is this woman actually doing something, or is she total bullshitting?
Make me an insight roll, please. Difficulty 3 in this case.
Okay, it's spiritualism added.
Yes,
I
yes.
guess.
She's so legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally.
Oh my
There
god.
you go.
nice.
Okay,
She's been around this kind of people for a while.
Yeah, so you get it's a complex answer because you get a sense, first of all, that she does know somewhat of the future. So she is not bullshitting, so to speak. But you also get a sense that there is an underlying motive for her presenting these 2 paths, and that there is not necessarily a truth in that it was foretold. It seems more like she is bidding it to be like this. And that part seems to be not foretold from the future, though you do get a sense that she has a very powerful capability to sense what will happen in the future, or at least to that effect somewhere. Yeah. So make of that what you will.
I wrote down kind of legit.
Kind of legit. Kind of legit, but you know, still a little bit strange. And eventually you're sensing that. So yeah, still, of course, the conversation is still going on. So eventually she says, which path will you choose? To stay or to leave?
Me and my companions, we have since our arrival today happened upon the job. What action should I undertake to successfully pursue this job and victorious?
she says, look into Tanaka, the crime lord. And I'm sure you'll find your answers there and complete your investigation successfully.
Kan ik kijken of ik iets kan rollen om te zien of ze
In
liegt?
English, in English. It's okay, it's okay. I just noticed it, yeah.
That's fine. Could I see if can I perhaps roll something to see if she's definitely lying about specifically whom to pursue?
Yes, I think I just want to say to anyone watching, it's very interesting that, you know, usually you have like charisma, right, in a game for all these, and you know, in Blood and Doom, there's 5 different attributes for your personality and like insights and that sort of thing. And I think it's pretty cool that we are now actually demonstrating for you know, the first half of this session that there's many variations in this you know, in this soul. It's called, you see, like a body, mind, and soul, and this is like these are your soul abilities. So that's heart, mystique, insight, courage, willpower. So in this case, Kasan, I think still what you're trying to find out is intuitively sensing the truth or a lie or underlying motives. Or
Could I perhaps use awareness? Try and see if I can find slight changes in her facial.
in
See
as
if she's got,
awareness.
like a twitch around her.
Okay. Well, I'll allow it. Though I have to say, I would gravitate towards insight more. But you know, even though it's my game, I'm not gonna be the guy who says no. So it's of course, you know, just roll that and it's gonna be fine. Just want to say to the people watching, this would have been insight. But make an awareness, roll awareness, and just to see if you can, like, in her facial expressions and her mannerisms, right? Okay, yeah. Difficulty 3. What is it? Is there anything in particular you're looking for, or?
I want to see if she's at this point. I am convinced, without any expertise, that she is a fortune teller. Sure.
Okay.
But I want to see if she's specifically trying to deceive me to go upon the path towards that crime boss guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's a difficulty 3.
Sure.
I'd say. Yeah. Oh!
Terrific. Great.
Oh,
nice.
Perfect.
Oh my God! Let me have a quick look at something.
Thank God.
Oh, why? Do
Oh
you
yeah,
do
this
We got
This
some
is-
extremes today.
yeah. Navaldi is standing by and overhearing all this, and she's just like, yeah, she's totally pushing you one direction, but she also sees you probably
She's onto you.
following everything
Yeah.
she's telling you.
So she looks at you very intensely, and she says, I get a sense you are accusing me of something. Without words, it's in your face. Why don't you go ahead and speak your mind before we have a problem? She's quite intense about this. It's like there's a kind of a layer of nicety that just was, you know, just disappeared for a moment there.
Whilst I do not doubt your expertise in the seeing and goings on of the after, I believe when you spoke of 2 paths, one positive and one negative, I don't think you were speaking positive or negative for me. specifically. I believe you are deceiving me.
That is very frank of you. I am, and she's all right. Let's see, because this is pretty interesting. She says, "You are only half right. I am trying to help you by offering you a way to leave." But if you want to stay in the city, by all means, do as you please. And at this point, she's getting intensely, and I mean really intensely, frightening to you. And I would even ask of you that you make a roll, and it's a focus roll. Difficulty 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
I cannot succeed this roll.
You can use you can probably use
Doom-
the Doom point to roll 5.
Yeah, you can press the roll 5 button and you can spend the Doom points to still roll 5 dice and see what happens.
Terrific.
It's still going to
I'll
be
do that then.
difficult, but...
I'll do that.
Oh no.
Oh my god! How?
That's
What
why
is
we
this?
do it,
7
baby.
successes? God! An 8, a 9,
Damn.
2, it's only successes. You see
Wow.
that? You rolled an 8, a 9, a 10, and an 8. It's like, this is insane. This is insane. All right,
Damn.
so
Not
So-
easily intimidated.
there's this for a second there, you feel as if her words are trying to pierce your mind, but somehow it just seems like you shrug it off, but you feel that there's something strange about what she just said to you, as if, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but that was not a normal voice. Definitely not a normal voice. She was inside your mind for just a few seconds, but you only barely, well, not actually barely, with 3 momentums left to spend, you managed to ignore that. And actually, she is kind of now with gestures, like kind of making it known to you that she wants to move on, go and do something else. She wants you to, it's like the conversation is done without saying it with so many words.
I will lean in a little bit off to the side, and I will whisper to her, "I will pretend that did not happen," and then I'll walk away.
The tone has been set. Fantastic. Oh my god. All right. So, oh wow. This is getting out of hand really quickly. Anyway, So, what would your next steps be? I see. I'll continue to check in with Badul, An, Zamia, and Ilya. I don't know if you are actually. Were you standing around here or
No,
laying
because
low
I
at
don't
the
want
temple?
I
think
don't want to
before
be
we
seen by
split
the
up,
fortune
we-
teller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and before we split up, we probably, well, more or less decided with the 5 of us whether we would do something as well.
Oh yeah, you can do something at the same time as you want.
Yeah, of course we can also stay in the what's the name of the Nomad and the Crow. So
With Eriotem Hafez and his very
Exactly.
luxurious and his great bottles of water purchased from Dulmar.
I'm going to fill my like a water skin or something with just normal Oasis water.
that's
See if there's a difference. Like
No, I just don't trust that water.
Okay, that's a good point. A good point. Yeah.
Nah, hey, you've never had water until you've had Dulmar's water.
That's
okay?
it, right? He
And
is a
perhaps I will never
proud
have any other water.
proud water connoisseur, our Dulmar. And but you go over to the oasis, and actually, yes, I mean it is very clear, this water. And do you taste it, or you just take something for later?
I'll taste it.
Oh,
You'll taste
Ilya
it,
will
and
also taste it.
It tastes fine. It tastes fine. That's all I have to say. I won't make any comparisons to any other water that has been drunk, but it tastes fine. Anyway, so what's your plan, Ilya and Badulan,
Oh, Ilya has joined Zamya for the water.
for some water?
because,
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Badulan, as well, staying together,
no,
or
I
you maybe
think-
had some solo operation that you want to run?
No, I think Battle probably followed Faroon and just enjoyed the scene from a distance.
Yeah.
And act as a
Enjoying. Yeah.
backup if needed.
And what a scene it was! My God. All right, so I'd say let's say it's now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you all group together someplace. Like it could be on, like let's say the outer edge of the palace bazaar, not quite like in the crowd, just outside of it. You group back together, and what is your next step? Or I mean, there's quite a lot to discuss, of course, but how shall this investigation into the disappearances in Ashar proceed?
Stories are shared. And,
Stories are
well,
shared, yeah.
My current plan I should probably get started soon. I don't know when she'll leave. Is to sort of change clothing in something that blends into the buildings here and go lying wait on a rooftop and keep watch.
Something sand colored maybe would do.
Yes.
Was such a strange suggestion. Okay, so you actually want to go on top of it? Is the Nomad and Crow, or which buildings are you planning
No,
to?
something that looks out over the bazaar, so I can like from a
Mm,
bird's eye view sort of be able to look
Yeah.
at the fortune teller to see when she leaves.
I see.
That's
But
a
what
sweet
she's
blend
doing.
into the roof a bit so it's
Yeah.
not obvious.
I like this idea, but do make me, just for the fun of it, because we've only had soul abilities. Make me a toughness roll just for the sake of it, because it's so hot. I just want to see how much of that oasis water you'll need to drink as you're lying on top of this roof, flat, and extremely hot from the scorching
Whoa.
sun.
What difficulty is this?
I'd say difficulty 2. It's not like, but just
Yeah, it's
a success. Okay. You'll manage. You
I know how to lay.
Yes, you still have some water left. You're not. You don't run into any issues or illness or maybe sunburn. It's a thing, right? So okay. So you're keeping an eye out, and it gets dark around 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, 7:30, in these parts, and
So yeah, the rest would probably be able to do other stuff while I'm lying
Yeah,
in
where
wait.
you're-
I know how to do,
Yeah. I will let you know as soon as she leaves. For now, she is still at her booth, talking to people, chatting with people. Though, even observing from a distance, you might say that she's, distraught might be the right word in some sense. So what is the rest doing?
Await further commands.
Yeah,
Wait.
perhaps gathered at a more or less more strategic place here in the city. Whenever Zamia wants to get hold of us, then we can be there wherever she has seen the woman go to
To see what's going down
as fast as
there.
possible. So
We've probably in the past discussed signals and all that, bird calls and all that. This means that, that means that.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
we've got some
Communication
barbarians
techniques.
and
Oh yeah, Namuldi can mimic anything she has heard animal-wise, so...
True, yeah. I can definitely see the barbarians screwing this up. Being like very obviously like...
That's why you're the decoy.
Oh, that's good. You guys go over there, make the signal. Meanwhile, the people who are actually planning on going through with it will be in another spot. So, okay, so strategic. Yeah, I mean, the Palace Bazaar itself is, for all intents and purposes, probably one of the best spots you can be.
Yeah, it's also a good place to blend in, I think. So.
Yeah, so hanging around the Harim Sarai, hanging around the Palace Bazaar, somewhere there in that direction would still be fine. And I assume that Zamia has taken up some building also, like one of those buildings that's closer to the walls of the palace, that still connects to the Palace Bazaar. That would give a nice view of the whole situation. So there's bird calls are incoming for later. And then the question, of course, is anything else you want to do in the meantime, or are you okay with like maybe skipping ahead a few hours and
Shopping
seeing
episodes
what-
is what they get. They can do
Yeah.
a shopping
shopping
episode.
episode? Yeah, no, you're on the roof. You're on the roof.
No, the rest of them.
Oh yeah, of course. No, please
Yeah,
don't
but,
do
you
it.
know,
No.
it's just this is just a time for just a good old fashioned stakeout, and those can take many hours. So
They can.
It's
They
just-
can.
wait probably until something happens.
Yeah,
Ah.
we just have a little drink, have a little something to eat
Yeah.
at some of the stalls, and just wait for a signal.
Yeah, I think Namuldi also suggests that, of course, she trusts Samia fully in being capable of following this person without being seen, but that she can also be an extra pair of eyes on the ground, which she means quite literally.
On the ground. And then okay, so you wait around for a little bit, and eventually Nimawe, she leaves her booth. She kind of cleans up her stuff, puts a lot of things in a crate, gets ready, to set up things back, set it up again the next day. And as the sun is going down, there's still some other shops that are open. There's still people. There's some music being played. There's people talking, walking around. But like around half of all the activity here is now shutting down. As usually, it has no. It doesn't see much business in the evening, and so she gets up and actually leaves. And I have to check my own map now, which has many places on it that are not on the player map, of course. And she goes to a house that is near the oasis, and you can find it here. I don't know if you can see this.
Yes.
So that's where she is walking to. And she goes inside. That's it.
Yeah, like when she left, like a bit after that, I probably would have made, a bird call, probably.
Mm-mm.
Oh, like of a bird we agreed upon earlier. I'm not going to say.
And what does it sound like, this bird?
Like a bird.
Hopefully, a local bird
I mean-
as well.
Can I hear? I want to hear it. No, just kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my internet just clicked out. I made an amazing bird sound. I'm so sorry you missed it.
Oh, see me and my.
Sorry,
ear-
we
my
hear a
ear-
duck.
It was the majestical sound of the royal chicken.
The royal chicken. The royal chicken of Tamon. Like someone, Padul Aan knows what it is. Anyway, so you all know where she is headed, and I assume you're trying to follow her. But she is no fool. So anyone who wants to try and follow her to her house really has to succeed a stealth roll, difficulty 3, if you want to be able to do this.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I've still got disguise on and all that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Let me have a
you
look.
think you want to go with the entire group, or?
I'm just leaving it up to the rest if they follow, because
I
I'm
mean-
going like as soon as I see it, and
I mean, you'll manage.
Can
I'm
we-
sure, but I don't know.
Can
I
we?
mean-
Yeah, and can we follow Zamia from a distance? I mean, because
Yeah.
then we have
Yeah.
Nima
I could
Way,
probably
Zamia,
leave
and
a
then
bit-
us.
Yeah.
I can probably leave some signs, like I've probably got a bit of chalk or something, like leave some quick signs, like I'm going this direction, that they know how to follow,
That
Yeah.
would also
There you
be a
go.
good one.
Problem
Yeah.
solved.
and that they can then erase once they've moved past it. Like, oh yeah, this. That way.
All right. So, okay, let's say only you make a stealth roll, and then the rest can follow at a greater distance, and that'll be fine. They're
this
following
one
you
would-
actually. Yeah. So difficulty 4.
4. Okay, just now it was 3. You said.
Did I?
Okay.
Yeah,
you
you
just said
did.
just now. You
Yeah.
said 3.
Okay, make it 3 then, because I just forgot
Yeah.
what I said. Yeah. It
Yeah,
actually
okay,
it would
and
be
just-
it would be a 4, so you're in luck because she's really I mean she knows something's up, right? So
Yeah, I'll use cloak and shadows fits here more than deception, because I am actually just staying
it's
hidden
not
and
it's
not
more of a
blending in.
physical it's a physical thing. Yeah.
Different kinds of stealth, you know.
Ouch.
I would like to re-roll.
Okay, press the reroll button.
Come on. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh,
What a
okay.
succeed on the 4.
That's a good reroll.
Yeah. So you managed to somehow follow her to this place, I mean whatever place it is, without getting noticed, and the rest is kind of there as well. And you see, after only like maybe 20-30 minutes, you see Obila, who you've met already. You see him make his way to the house, and you see her make her way to the house. And then you also see another man make his way to the house. And eventually, you see the woman who you've met earlier at the registration office.
Oh. Who seemed very interested in things.
Also make her way to this house. And they all
Roll
seem
in
to be going
on it.
inside. Yeah.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Yes,
yeah.
it does. I have to say, I'm completely derailing my own adventure at this point, but I'm just
How it works.
going. It
Players
has
never do
nothing
what
to
you
do
want them
anymore
to.
with what is written in the book, but it's cool, you know. So we'll have to see how that ends up, but
Yeah.
it's interesting
Well, it all
to see.
ends up with the water salesman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is the one. He's responsible for everything. Him and his water. So you see them going into this house, and at that point, I would like to ask you, what are you going to do in the dark of night? It's around 8 o'clock now. Both suns are not shining, and it's pretty quiet here.
Perhaps first try to eavesdrop on them.
I should be able to eavesdrop on them inside.
Ah. You have some
How will you do
morphing
such
powers.
I probably think that they know each other for a time.
a thing?
So you probably have seen her shape into different animals before. Usually when they are attacked, something bigger and more meaner comes out.
Oh, you're
But
talking about yourself, of course. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think so. You know, the rest of the party surely knows that you are a shapeshifter, so to speak.
So I think she is going to walk out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And you see at one point this cobra slithering past him and towards that house.
Ooh, a cobra. A cobra.
Mhm. That's the only one that fits. I don't think that a tiger is going to do it here.
And more difficult like to hide as the tiger. No, inside
Yeah.
that house anyway.
It's an escape exotic pet.
Yeah. Let me see how much blood points that costs me.
I think
I don't
it's
know.
a trait, right? So to
Oh, yeah,
do
it
this,
doesn't.
it costs you no blood points, and I think you can do it once per rest and
Twice.
twice
actually.
even. Yeah, but it does only unlike in D&D for example, it lasts only
10
only
minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. Plus, it does state very clearly, though I won't bother you with this too much. You also kind of instinctively act as the animal. You still have a sense of purpose, so you still know I am Namuldi and I'm doing this, but yet like 30% of you also wants to do snake things, right? So
Yeah.
just keep
More polymorph than wild shape if we're comparing it to other systems.
yeah perhaps. Yeah, I've never actually seen polymorph in, but that actually changes you into the animal itself.
That also changes the mental stats
I
and all
see.
that.
Yeah, okay. So a little bit of that is in here.
Yeah.
So you go into the house, and it's a simple house. Let me just check. I have some
And I guess we try
information.
to get closer as well, but stay outside and
Yeah, so as close as you can.
exactly.
Oh, okay. I mean, they are talking to each other, and Namuldi, the first thing that you notice is the intense reverence that all three of them have for Nimawe. Like, she is like almost like a goddess to Obila and the other man. I'll just call him Kasin because you can see his name anyway. You haven't heard it yet, but it doesn't really matter. And Amara. So she starts to talk to them, and Obila also says, I think we have a problem. I sent them your way. How did it go? And she says, I don't think they'll let go. And there is one in particular, and then she describes Kasan. And I want him inside the wall, swallowed, even though he'll be useless to us. I want him to suffer. And then Amara says, but what are we to do? We still need 2. She says yes. And then Amara says, but the full moon is tomorrow night. We'll have to move quickly, Nimawe says. And if need be, we may have to reveal ourselves and rid ourselves of these travelers, troublemakers, whatever they are. Whatever we need to do to get it done. If we need to kill them on the streets, it needs to be done. But let's see first if we can try and keep it quiet. And then Kasin says, I will inform the others as well. I will leave the city tonight. Perhaps, maybe even something dead could help us. And Nimawe kind of nods. Yes, the dead could certainly help. And that's kind of the direction this conversation is going in, if that reveals anything of use. So, eventually, Obila says, if we really want to get rid of him, I could also summon one. You know, the Daimonium di Carne. I will see if I can find a suitable victim. And Nimawa kind of say, and they're talking like this because, I mean, they know what they're talking about, even though it may not be immediately obvious to you. And that's kind of what they plan to do. Excuse me. And then Nimawa says, all right. And they take their leave. So eventually Kasin leaves the house. Obila leaves this house, and Amara stays behind for a little bit longer. And
I'm not staying behind for that because I guess that was my 10 minutes kind of.
yeah, it is. I guess so. Maybe you can still make out that Nimawa is telling her that she is showing great promise and that she might almost be ready. And then, 10 minutes, maybe slowly. So you just to be sure, and that you're not like all of a sudden, oh,
Yeah.
sorry. So okay. So that's kind of what you hear, and So what is it that you want to do?
I slither out again. I follow. I go through the crack or whatever. I've
That's.
came
I mean,
in.
in a place like this, and even if you go through like a wall or whatever underneath the door, enough ways for a snake to get in and out.
I return to the alleyway where I disappeared from. Return back to my normal shape. And try to relay as much as possible of what I've just heard, but not being able to make any sense of what is being said.
Do any of us know about this? What was Daimonium di Carne or whatever it was?
The Daimonium di Carne. You can make me a lore roll if you want. It's going to be a difficulty 4, and if you have any kind of skill relating to myths and monsters, that could be of use.
I have Monsters of Myth, 2 points. I could.
I'll leave the roll
I have
to you.
Occult and Arcane.
Well, as well, yeah.
Zamia is just going to think about who it would be best to kill first,
Are we all allowed to roll on this?
Well, you both seem to have interesting skills for this, so let's do both. Usually I do one, but I think why not?
The difficulty was.
I can imagine you both trying to think of an idea here of what it is. Difficulty was
4, I believe.
4, yeah, because it's like not.
So this is lore.
Yeah,
as an
lore.
ability?
Yeah, it's like knowledge
You can
gained
reroll.
from reading, studying, traveling the world, cultural knowledge. Really.
Guys, re-roll, please.
I will.
Oh my
reroll.
God! What is this? How is this?
Oh, why
possible?
not? Why not?
Yeah?
Let's re-roll. Yeah, why not? Let's hope.
Oh
for
my
the
God.
end.
Terrific.
No!
No!
No,
Four
roll 20
failures.
is against us.
All
There's
these doom.
no other explanation.
I didn't explain. I mean, most of you know because you talk to me more often. But you know that the more doom points you spend later in the game, I can ask you for a doom roll, and the fewer doom points you have, the fewer dice
Bring
you get
it
to roll
on.
to make a doom roll.
Bring it on.
We're just
The
spending
smaller
all
the
our
chance
luck in
that
Call
you
of
succeed.
Cthulhu.
So you keep spending all those doom points, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So-
but that's a problem for future me.
Exactly.
It's like luck
First
in
we have
Call
to
of
deal with
Cthulhu.
this.
You spend it all, and then when you need it, you're screwed.
Yeah. Future me. I mean,
Well,
all right. So
Future me won't need it. They're dead.
It's called Blood and Doom for a reason, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's
Yes.
true. That's true. You have to spend those doom. Oh my God. Well, anyway, the Daimonium di Carne remains a mystery. Though what you do sense is that it is probably some kind of a book, but no more than that, right? It does really sound like the title of a book. But you know, who knows what's its contents are. Anything else that you want to try and do?
So do
Because
we
two
want to
people
go-
are leaving in opposite
Yeah.
directions. So Obila is going one way, and Kasin is making his way to the east gate of the city.
I would
I
say
think-
someone would follow Kasin first because
Yes, and kill him.
Kill him. Shit, there needs to be.
I'm on
killing.
it. I'm on it.
No,
Run,
I'm
Sandra.
gonna assess. I'm gonna go. If he's going to get help from that sounds very worrying and it's like something we should take.
yeah,
care
if we have that information relayed by us already from Namuldi, then yeah, I'm not sure whether we see him leaving and then Namuldi still has to come to us. So then we have to
She
decide
leaves at the
immediately.
same time.
Yeah,
but-
kind of at the same
Okay,
time. I think there
okay.
would be enough time for her to say, like, you know, maybe we should follow him because he is, you know, he's apparently getting help or something
Okay.
to that effect.
Kill him,
yeah.
kill him, and if possible, try to find out
Well-
where
Mm,
his.
mm,
his
mm. Will you make such
Incapacitate
an?
him.
Oh, sorry, Zamia.
Incapacitate him, get him near death, and perhaps we can extract more information. Kill him if need be, but if we can knock him out, tie him up, question him, maybe apply some force to question him a bit better, and then kill him. He's dead either way, but the difference is whether we can learn more.
Okay.
You think Ilya can restrain herself that way, or?
I mean, I'm
Let's see.
going. I'm
Let's
also
find out.
going. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going there.
So, is this attempt going to be made inside the city walls or outside the city walls? Because he actually is making his way toward the gate.
Have we seen any patrols from guards?
There
or
is, I
anything
mean,
like that?
it's not like around every corner, but there are some guards in the city. Yes, there's some, but also at the same time, it may be less than usual because the Amrin has actually called in so many of
Oh,
the
yeah.
city watching guards to his palace to form
Mhm.
like a circle around him because he is super scared of what is going on.
Yeah, but well, if he screams, it will be a problem.
Yes.
No, well, he won't
Unless
scream for
we-
that long. So
I mean, if he's going to leave the city anyway, we may as well follow him and just do the deed outside of the city.
Yes, though there are probably guards there who would notice that we're leaving. They're guards at the gates.
Yeah. So anyone who leaves or at this, good point by the way. Anytime
Unless we
anyone
scale the
leaves
walls.
or gets into the city, someone will know. Yeah, and the guards keep track of this as well.
Yeah.
I
Let's
mean, you
take
don't
them
have
out
to
here in
sign
the
a
city.
form
Yeah.
each time, but
Yeah, unless we can scale the walls.
let's take him out just here in the city. It's
Yes. You know, you guys are strong. Could you say get up behind him? You know, silence him and drag him into.
and
the
very
alley?
confidently, Ilya will nod like no problem.
Yeah.
Like the two rerolls with 14 dice and
oh my god.
not enough successes. So
So this is really happening, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And Namuli, if they are going after the first one, she's going to propose to Badalan that they are going to follow the second person who.
which was
could-
Ubila or was it Amara?
Obila.
Oh, Ubila.
Ubila.
Yeah, because Amara stayed with Nimawe.
Oh yeah, so who is following Obila?
Namuldi does and invites Badalan to follow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Badul-An and Namuldi go after Obila. Kassan, Zamia, and Ilya go after Kasin.
Kasin.
Okay, let's
Split
see.
the party, whatever could go wrong.
Oh man, this is so not how the adventure was supposed to go. So much
I
fun.
do have a quick question. We had a
Yeah.
certain time frame set up for how long we're going to play.
Oh yes, that's a good
I think
point.
this is a good place.
Yes.
Maybe we should say, because I can guarantee you this is going to be an encounter and there is going to be fighting and it's going to be, well, I mean, he is alone.
Fighting?
So,
Fighting? I hadn't expected that.
No, really? Yeah.
No.
So we actually
glorious
managed to
fight.
get through this entire thing without. But I think it's nice. We can. I mean, you're right. It's almost 6 now, and we agreed on playing until 6. We started a little bit later than intended, but I think this is a nice stopping point. And it also gives me some time to think about how I'm going to get myself out of this mess. the corner there, as I'm just going with the flow. But like, I need to move around a few pieces on the board now. But this
You
is
don't need
ve-
to move right pieces. We just kill them and we succeed.
yeah, oh, of course, yeah. No, but it's very interesting because, as you all know, I've been I've been GMing for a lot of years, and now I've taken a break for some time to write a lot more. And it's really nice to see that when you start GMing again, like nothing makes sense and anything goes. It's like it goes into all the. It's like,
True.
oh yeah, that's true, and that's the best way to play anyway. So that's nice.
What do we
to
say? No scenario survives contact with the players.
with the players, yeah, exactly. So that's very cool. All right, so what did you think of it so far? Pretty cool, right?
It's really fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
like-
yeah.
Right.
Like, as you know, the rest of you players probably know, I really love Ravenloft, and I think this kind of system could work for that because it's got the right feeling for it.
Yeah, it has those investigative capabilities, but at the
Yes.
same time, once we run an encounter, you'll also see, we haven't had a strength or dexterity roll yet, but there'll be attacks. You have
we
to
had
defend.
for intimidation.
Oh yeah,
We
the
had
one,
strength
yeah,
for
the
intimidation.
heavily leaning forward to Obila, and I think that will be very interesting to see. And then of course there will be some interesting for momentum, right? Because when you're not in an encounter, momentum is usually just used to say, all right, you just succeed really, really well, and you'll get a little bit of extra information, or you'll see through a lie even better. But during combat, of course, you can use your weapon attributes, like I say, ignore armor, make multiple attacks, shatter someone's armor, that sort of thing. And magic, of course. Nomuldi probably has some cool magic controlling.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun. So poor Kasin is just alone. And I regret not having said, that everyone is gonna go with him, but he's alone, so it doesn't look good for him. So yeah, we'll see. But thank you all for joining. Please do stay
Thank
for a
you.
little while after I end the stream. Are there any people it's like as if we are so famous to say this, but where can people find you? I think maybe Nomuldi, I mean, you have your own game. So if you want to,
Can I?
Yeah, of course, go right ahead.
Thank
Tell
you.
us, where everyone can find you and what you're doing.
Yes, you can find me as Sandra Catherine on Twitter. And you can also find a link there for my card which is linked to H, where you can find this fun little horror game I wrote based on the Breathless system, which is called When the End Comes.
Fun it is.
And
It's very fun.
I played
It's
it as
so
well.
cool.
I liked it very much. It's short,
Yeah.
right? It gets to the point, and it's fantastic.
Perfect for
I
one
like-
shot.
Yeah.
And
it's
you can
perfect for
die
one
and
shot.
still have fun afterwards.
Exactly.
No way! I love dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have
there-
died
there's
multiple
fun.
times.
You can play it with anyone who hasn't maybe ever played a role-playing game and explain it in 5 minutes and just
Yeah.
have. It's about the story, I'd say, most of all, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about taking your favorite horror game, a horror movie or story, and just be a character in it.
Yeah.
So that's very fun to
Cool.
run
Cool.
and play.
All right, and then Kasan, Wiebe, you want to say anything about where people may be able to find you, or you're like, no, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I asked you, I know that from what I know, at least, I know only Sandra has the presence, so online, and I don't think, or you,
I don't do a lot. I mean, I have an Instagram account.
no, it's more like
Follow
if-
me on
if you
Instagram.
follow you on Instagram, find Wiebe. No, it's more like
Find my handle in the description.
I'll add it just for you. And Wim, any place you want people to be able to find? I mean, it's not required. It's just like for Sandra, it's especially interesting for her game, of course.
Well, if you're a Dutch gamer and you're in Dutch 20 or the Beyond D&D Discord, then you can find me. But
Good one.
other
Yeah,
than that,
so
I don't have an online presence.
yeah, shout out to Dutch 20 and Beyond D&D. There are mostly Dutch people there, even on Beyond D&D, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where you can find these fine people a lot of the time and play all kinds of games online. So check that out.
And
then,
of course, the Blood and Doom Discord.
And the Blood and Doom, yeah, yes. Oh
course.
yeah, by the way,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely check out the Blood and Doom Discord. But there's so many people coming in every day at this point. It's
Perhaps I
crazy.
should check it out.
Yeah. No, you're already there. But
No, I'm
it's-
not. I'm not.
Oh
You're
my
not.
god.
Terrible.
You're not?
Dude, you should come. Yeah.
No.
No, it's a lot of fun. People are like actively talking about the game, discussing their theories about, oh, I'm gonna play a session, this and that, or maybe admittedly, there's some things in the rules. There's some like maybe a spelling mistake or a thing, and people help out, and it's really great because these are still primer books, and with the
By the
Kickstarter
way,
going
on the
towards
map,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
incense is misspelled.
Really? Oh my god.
There you go.
The
Curious for
second C
those
is-
details, right?
It's, yeah, oh,
incense
it's
is supposed- the
SSE. Yeah, of
second
course.
C,
Yeah.
the
I have to
second C
say
is
that
S.
this is also because Photoshop is a horrible text editor, and it also doesn't have autocorrect. So yeah,
Yeah.
incense.
I'm the autocorrect.
I am writing this down right
I
now.
wasn't going to say it, but it came up so organically.
Yeah, no, true, but it's because I'll explain how this came to be. It's because the Kickstarter, you set a certain date for the Kickstarter, and we already did so in I think October or November, and then you're working towards it, and you're finishing up those primer books, which are like 500 pages, and then this adventure,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden. It's like, oh my God, we're running out of time. So a lot of writing. And we simply did not have time to do
Yeah.
2 or 3 because it takes a lot of time to go over so many pages
Oh, yeah.
and correct all those little mistakes. But rest assured, to everyone watching, that of course will happen for the final books, because I'm not going to spend $1 on having books printed if they're not like triple, quadruple checked for all these little mistakes. But now it's pretty easy to just do version 1.1, 1.2, update the PDFs. We did one update already, removing some of the most glaring mistakes, and we'll do more updates. Also adding some new sections to the primer books, and cleaning it up more and getting it. Because I also today in the Faces of Evil I found like 1 or 2 small mistakes that will all be fixed soon. But where can people find you, Kira?
I'd be a very poor assassin if people could find me like
That's
that.
true. Okay, so
However, if you want to find me, you can find me in the playtesting credits of When the End Comes. So go check that out.
cool. Okay, nice. And then we finally get to Geo. If you want to throw up any online
Well, I think
handles.
the same locations Wim already mentioned, and
Beyond
of course,
D&D and Dutch
Beyond
20.
D&D and Dutch 20. And just like Kira also mentioned, again, Sandra Catherine's, or do I say that correctly, by the way?
Perfect.
Yeah. When the End Comes. So you'll, can have a look at it.
Thank you all for
You
watching.
should have a look at it.
Thank you.
And by the way, you've inspired me now to set up a one shot for Blood and Doom.
Yes, let's
as
do it.
soon,
That's what we need.
as
More people
possible.
play. Yeah, GMing the game, and you see, it is in many respects pretty easy to run. It gets slightly more complicated, of course, when you're in a combat situation, as does any game. But I still feel like it's very it's very easy to run this and very intuitive.
I had a look. I had a look at the combat system. It's also like not. You don't have a certain order. It's more like it flows naturally,
Yeah,
organically.
and that's a lot of fun
Sorry.
because that both Wiebe and Sandra and Gio can attest to. We did that during early playtests, and what is most fun is that it just flows. Like maybe for like one round, people who are
Fine.
used to playing D are like, is it my
Yeah.
turn yet? And then it's like, no, just go whenever you feel like it. It's like, I want to go now because I'm so angry. And it's okay, then run in and just go do your thing. You know, and then one action leads to another, like a reaction, and
Yeah.
then this happens, and this happens, and your allies or your friend gets attacked, and you're like, I'm not gonna sit back and let it happen. I wanna,
Oh, yeah.
I wanna act, and so you have a reason to take a turn, is what I would say, you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then yeah, okay, then you'll probably end up being lost that round, and that's fine too. But usually it kind of flows naturally. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've played some other systems that have a similar system, like it flows organically, and it always takes like a bit of getting used to if you play a lot of like set
more
edition. But
structured.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
once you manage, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, really. So, all right. So, thank you all for playing with me today. And after the stream has ended, we'll try and set up something to do the sec. I think the way you're going now, we can do it in 2 sessions. So it was fantastic. And don't forget, for the people watching, please check out the Blood and Doom Kickstarter. We're still live until the end of this month, and we're gonna make some very great stretch goals. So I'll post a link down below. And goodbye.